My name is Gülroy Asper, and people call me Serwi here because I use that name as my pen name. And then people recognize me with my pen name, and then they like to call me Serwi. So I'm living right now in Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia. I used to be a teacher in Memphis, Tennessee, at Shelby County Schools. I have been actually an educator back home in East Turkestan and also throughout my career experience in the United States. So 2 years ago, I moved to Virginia to join the big Uyghur community because of all these crackdowns and all these protests that Uyghur community has been having against the Chinese government's this massive concentration camp and cracking down policy. So right now I'm living with my family, with my husband, and with my two girls here. Of course, and every one of my extended family right now, they are living in East Turkestan. East Turkestan is known as Xinjiang, which means new territory, new border in Chinese. Xin means new, Jiang means border and a territory. And China gave this name after their occupation in 1949, actually. Otherwise, we recognize this region East Turkestan, and it's a colonized land, occupied region, and it's under the political border of China. But we are Uyghurs who have been living here for centuries, thousands of years. So they came and they occupied us, and they used a kind of slow assimilation policy throughout all those years since 1949 until now. But recently, when it is time for the Chinese government to carry out their Belt and Road Initiative, before they really open up the region to the Western trade and for other reasons, they really would like to erase the ethnic identity of the Uyghurs for stabilizing the region altogether. This region was stable actually. The Uyghur people are going through the assimilation slowly and slowly. They achieved somehow relative Chinese, Han Chinese, and Uyghur kind of unity they have promised. So people have been living there. They accepted this colonization. They accepted this assimilation, and they just sent their children to school, and their children are having that Han Chinese education. They accepted it, but the Chinese government they took their land. They used the rich natural resources underground the East Turkestan because this region is really rich in oil. And on top, so they want this land, but they don't want its people right now. They would like to erase, and as a result, starting from 2016, I have been receiving information that my extended family have been taken into concentration camp too. It all started in 2016 when I did the monetary transfer from here in the United States to Urumqi city to my sister's family, to my older sister's family. And I have two nephews actually, and this is my youngest nephew, my older sister Adila Asper's son. So he's a medical school graduate, and he was running a bookstore with his brother, with my another nephew. But suddenly he was arrested because he received the money from me, $10,000 US money. So because they supported me for my housing mortgage, and then by that time I had enough money to return. Why not? And I returned, and as a result, just 3 days later, police came and took him from the house, and they searched the entire house, and they just found the copy of Quran and the MP3 of Quran recitation, and then labeled him as a kind of religious extremist, so on and so forth, and it started with him. And then later on, my brother was taken, and his brother was taken, and then later on, so after all of my advocacy, so on and so forth, my two family members, my brother, who is a popular linguist, very well-known social figure, and who worked at the Ethnic Language Committee of China, his name was Hussein Janespar, and he was released after just 2 years of detention, and his brother was also released. But right now, and he's still in the prison. So just because receiving money from me resulted in his arbitrary detention. And he was first in the concentration camp and later on just sentenced with some years of imprisonment. For me, it's impossible to know how many years of imprisonment he has been having and when he will be released, and it will be a myth. And then later on, just even before that, I think this is my husband's brother, Alam Sulaiman, my husband's younger brother, and he was detained. And he detained just shortly afterwards. He came back from Turkey. He visited Turkey, tried to learn Turkish for just 6 months, and he was arrested. Now he was. It's not like he was sentenced with 17 years of imprisonment just because he went to Turkey, and my husband has been advocating for his freedom since his arrest, like me, and I have been the advocate of for my family who have been detained. And so right now, just recently, I have been received a news that my second sister's husband was newly taken to camp, and his name is Asmat, and he was a history teacher in military, some normal like teacher college, military-based teacher college. He's a history teacher. So somehow he was arrested, and my sister begged me to stay silent. And I stayed silent for a while, but right now I'm thinking it's time to raise my voice on his behalf. So, so why I'm showing these people's pictures for you, and what I would like to say, they're not numbers. They're not numbers. After the Jewish Holocaust, people did get data, just raw data, just maybe like even more Jewish people must be killed, harmed, traumatized during the Holocaust. And people got the data in the research papers, in the novels, and stories everywhere. Just Jewish people went through this and that, and they were in the concentration camp, poor nutrition and no hygiene, and so on and so forth, and still people are telling their stories and being sad for them. But similar things, even worse kind of things, are occurring under the biggest lie of the Chinese government, and they are the people. They are my family. They're my blood relatives. So I raised my nephew just like I helped my sister. She was nurse, very busy person all the time. And then my brother-in-law, my older sister's Adila's husband, was a writer, teacher. They were so busy. I raised their kids. When I was in the middle school, I babysit whenever I had free time. So I taught him, and I signed on his homeworks and everything, and he speaks highly about me all the time, admired me all the time. But right now, he was my biggest fan throughout my life. Just he likes me so much. Right now, he's in there. I'm sad for them, and I'm raising my voice. Other than that, I couldn't do much.
Serwi, thank you so much. It's, clearly really traumatic and distressing, to be in a situation where your loved ones are in this situation and, doing whatever you can to help. So you're obviously doing amazing work at bringing awareness to this, and you're so brave. I think we all would agree that it takes a lot of courage to be able to face something like this. So I just wanted to ask you a couple of things. In regards to the family members and people who are incarcerated, are they in touch with anybody? Can anybody communicate with them while they're in these camps and detention centres?
So it's impossible for me to investigate on this kind of question. So I had a rare chance after the release of my brother, actually. I remember it's like 2019 April, he was released. So at that time, I had a rare chance to talk to my sisters, and all they said is like stay quiet. They say you are doing really bad things and your responsibility is to raise your own children and do not be involved with bad people. Don't speak bad things about the party, Communist Party of China. If you are good, then we are good. This is what they said. Like a lot of pressure from my family side, and this communication with my family, it's like several months is one time occurred during that time. But right now, they did erase me from their WeChat account again. It seems like things got tensified. But after the arrest of my second sister's husband, and they are shocked one more time, I think. And shortly afterwards, the arrest, they deleted me from their WeChat account, and I had no clue right now how things progressed. But for my understanding right now, so, um, so two of my family members who were previously detained came out, but still one is inside, and my husband's brother is inside. So we don't know what prison, what number of concentration camp they're locked in. We have no clue. We have no clue. And whether they are able to communicate with our family back home, and that's totally not clear for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for informing us about that. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I know in Australia, some of the community here that have been speaking out for their loved ones, it's actually helped. And those people have been, released from China. And there was one man whose wife actually ended up coming back to Australia. So I can understand it's a very difficult circumstance to make those decisions of whether to speak out or not. And certainly with the Falun Gong practitioners as well, which I spoke about previously in regards to the organ harvesting, it's been a similar situation with them. A lot of persecution of the family members back home if they speak out, but then in other cases, it's the exact opposite. It's actually sort of helped those people back home. So I can understand that.
Yeah,
it's really difficult.
so usually just he's one of the so many Uyghur advocates for the freedom of their family members. Yeah, his son was named as Lutfi, I remember. I think he united with his wife, but this is really rare incidents, and because his son was like admitted as Australian citizen and who was left inside the East Turkestan border in Urumqi, the capital city, with the mother. So because just through the help of the foreign policy department of Australia, I think he did all those things. I think. Just a lot of support he gained from the government and the community and the news media circle. I think he's one of the very, very luckiest person that who got this chance. But while so many of the others are deprived of even meeting and talking with the wives and their wives and their children were taken to the orphanage camp. I remember a CNN documentary that children were taken to the. I think that guy was also Australian citizen, and the wife was taken to the concentration camp. And then I think they Kong, the journalist's name, and then they went and they did the documentary. And one daughter was living with the grandparents, and another boys, 2 or 3 boys were taken to the camp, and the girls said, "I want to see my mom. I want to see my dad who is in Australia." And that later on, Chinese government wanted to just make another documentary to defeat the CNN documentary. I think it's named as like children of Uyghurs were taken to the orphanages and they're separated with the family.
Right. Well, there's certainly a lot of propaganda coming out from the Chinese state, that's for sure. So in regards to your personal security and safety, do you feel any threats being in the United States?
So I think I was part of one Amnesty International just like long piece about the Uyghurs don't feel safe because of the China's long extended arm, stretched arm, even outside of the border. Yes, from time to time, me and my husband, we have been receiving different kinds of calls from the Chinese guys. They say, I have postal package, one phone. Another phone says, I have important documents to take or submit to the Houston Chinese embassy, or yeah, something like that. So yeah. Other than that, we're okay. We're okay.
Thank you. And in regards to the family members that you said were arrested and then have been released in East Turkestan, um, what about this? I mean, I can imagine that they're probably concerned about being arrested again, but just to ask you, their security and safety once they're released, what's that circumstance like for
You know
them?
that all the time throughout my childhood, that I grew up in East Turkestan, and I left from the country when I was 29 years old with my twin girls. So throughout my experience, and people were taken to the prison for lame reasons, you know, if they, yeah, lame reasons. I always have been seeing this kind of phenomena, and then the people would tell me that it means that they have a red dot on their record. Just once you have a red dot on your record, just really hard for you, even you are released from their prison, to get a job and to be admitted in to some government circles. So we have been like like every time they crack down, for example, in 2009, we call it like Urumqi massacre, that we were students did peaceful protest, but Chinese government cracked down in a very bloody way and imprisoned thousands of Uyghurs. And but they claim to the world that they are kind of the violence instigators on the streets, and they are practicing violent things. They are terrorists, and then they claimed like that. But on the contrary to that, the journalists who took some photos of the Uyghur women, like extended protest after July 5th, and those photos were taken on July 7th. If you Google Uyghur, there's hundreds of those protest pictures that Uyghur ladies were just approaching to the tanks of the Chinese government, old and young, and fainted, and that they are touching the hats of the Chinese police and just screaming that they took my husband, they took my son, because after the protest they came into door to door. I was in the Urumqi and things were really tense. I left shortly afterwards this massacre, and then a lot of people were in prison. And then later on, and I heard that some of them came out. But during this crackdown started from 2016 and all the things, I heard that the previously released one, they were taken again into the camp. So if you remember, I mentioned that my second sister's husband was taken, right? He was history teacher in military base teachers college, and he has been teaching ever since his graduation from college. And it just one, and his major is sensitive, just based on history. And another one, he was taken to the concentration camp in 2019, 2018, and the release after more than like a nearly 1 year period. He stayed there and he was released. And recently he was taken back again. So how do you feel about their security right now? You know, once they are identified as like not very secure people, like red dot, like on their record, just so-called red dot, and as labeled as like a threat to the security, public security, so-called public security of the Chinese government, they just they take them anytime. They take them anytime. So, and all those horrific things are happening in the concentration camps. And like, because I interviewed with our Justice for All director, Sister Hannah, some of the camp survivors. and they said that they are denied with sanitary items, they are denied with food, and their food was so like steamed bun and cabbage soup just once in a daily, and they draw their blood, and also that all those news media are reporting they collected every single Uyghur person's DNA sample. So just we're afraid of a lot of things. If only they are in Chinese border of the Chinese government's authority one day, I think no matter outside and no matter inside, they're in threat of taken to the concentration camp. If only they are in the concentration camp, they're under threat of long-term imprisonment, forced organ harvesting. And then right now we are seeing a lot of videos that the Uyghur people are working as workers in the different tech companies located into innerland China, not inside the border of East Turkestan. So forced labor, so forced organ harvesting, and enforced disappearance. They sometimes even don't want to return the dead body to the family. Even they are returned, they just are like watched by the Chinese police, and they are denied to. The family members are denied to touch their body. So all these things gives me threat, and then if only outside, inside, if only they are under the Chinese authority, they're not free. Their life is under threat.
Thank you. It's yes, you've giving us such a comprehensive picture. It's really very helpful and very kind of you, because it's clearly a really traumatic situation. And like you say, in regards to the people not even being able to see the bodies, this is something that has come out in the China Tribunal, which I also spoke about earlier. And there's people that have actually gotten to a point where they have seen a body, but it's clear that the body has been cut open. There's the possibility that the organs have been taken, and that piece of evidence isn't conclusive in itself, but when put with all the other lines of evidence, it's really, really very, very concerning.
Very horrific. Yeah, very horrific.
So just to finish off, you are working at the moment with Justice for All, which is a fantastic organisation that we've also been collaborating with, which has been really wonderful. You're doing some amazing work there. What would you usually urge Americans, especially students, to do to advance human rights and the safety for Uyghurs in China and elsewhere? What would you advise and call for?
Yeah, so we want them usually to raise awareness, because there are still so many people who have never heard about Uyghurs. Even they don't know such a nation exists on this planet of Earth, because of the Chinese government really tightly controlled this region, and even didn't, while they opened up the another regions to the Western trade, so on and so forth, they closed the region altogether. So prior to 2016, very rarely people knew about the existence of Uyghurs. But right now, they do not merely know the existence of Uyghurs, they know the fact that there is ongoing genocide happening in this region. So we usually ask them to raise awareness in their circle, because ordinary people make unordinary things. Students may grow up as politicians in the future, where they are citizens and they have the authority to pressure their local politician to make favorable policies for Uyghurs, and pressuring China on this issue. So I usually just they come with the projects. They would like to do some presentation in their schools, high schools, or in the universities, and they invite us to collaborate with their projects, or just doing lectures like this. And usually I'm more than happy to share my personal story, and at the same time I try my best to raise awareness about this, because they grew up to be extraordinary people. I know these students, and I know they will pressure Chinese government even right now, not in the future. So within their own power, own limitations, they can do extraordinary things. Raise awareness in their TikTok account, raise awareness on YouTube, and they can do that.
Thank you. It's so true, and sometimes underestimated, like you say, and how valuable it is, particularly across the social media. At ETAC, we've got a social media email that comes out that the students can join on to once a week, and we specifically make posts around organ harvesting, but around expert comments around that sort of thing, and also comments from Uyghurs about the medical exams that they've had. Does Justice for All have a newsletter or anything that the students can join for more information?
Yeah, so actually, Save Uyghur, we release a weekly newsletter. So right now, Justice for All release one combined newsletter for Save Uyghur, Burma Task Force, Sri Lanka Task Force. We are thinking about separating it and releasing it to the targeted population. But still, just if some organizations, if they would like to be added to our list, we are more than happy to send our newsletter. We make one in each week. It is released usually on every Monday. And it has some action items that we initiated as a Save Uyghur team of Justice for All. For example, we initiated such tasks, Hilton Hotel. So Hilton Hotel destroyed one ancient Uyghur mosque temple in one of the cities in Hotan, and we identify, say, Uyghur team, even the name of and the location, exact name of this masjid, and then we initiated automated email or the calls to the Hilton and just collect signatures and pressuring the Hilton Hotel to just start this project to build one of their hotels in the Hotan city on the located by wiping out one ancient Uyghur mosque and replace it with one Hilton Hotel and make profit. And I think it's really maybe people do such things, for example, building Hilton Hotel on the location because they are not aware, really, because they are cheated by the lies of the Chinese government, because they are not aware. And another one is they place the money above their human dignity. So no matter what, I would like to have this lucrative profit by building one Hilton Hotel. But people can do extraordinary things. We can pressure Hilton, and we can even make them stop such projects because we did it before, right? We pressure some organizations, and right now, for example, today I'm creating that newsletter with the team. So I realized that two of the Best Buy took two of the brands away from their shelves because of their linkage of these two brands with the Chinese Uyghur forced labor. So I was so happy. So all these positive results are coming out as the public pressure because of the advocacy of the forced Uyghur labor and because of the advocacy of the existence of concentration camp. Because they said that the students in the concentration camp, they call it re-education centers, graduated, and they said, Chinese government said, we made them gain jobs by just you see, they uprooted them from their homes from the Hotan and the Kashgar cities, different various parts of East Turkestan, and they put them first into the camp, and then they transferred them into the different industrial cities of the China, and then they made them work day and night. And I saw some videos released by TikTok. Guys released that TikTok, like dozing on the small chairs because of they're not allowed to sleep, and such kind of videos are really traumatizing for me, actually. So I want to say that all these advocacy actually would work. Your company is doing the really good thing. I know it would work. Just maybe very soon we will see, before even we realize this, the results will be shown. I know advocacy will work.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for talking with me and with the students today. It's been really very, very informative and very moving, actually. And hopefully it's given the students, I'm sure it will have given the students a really an insight into what's going on and how that affects people such as yourself and your family. So thank you very much and really, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.